So, how about that airline food?
Man, I have just been crazy with these Phineas and Ferb clips as of late. One more at the end, I promise. So, bitches and bros and non-binary hoes, in this very busy fall 2022 season, let's talk about what new queer characters we have while talking about the ones from summer 2022. Let's first talk about what's going on in this season, starting with Xion, from the RWBY spin-off anime Ice Queendom. Before I start, I just want to say that everything going on with Rooster Teeth and Xion's voice actor will not be discussed in this video. All I want to talk about is Xion's character. That's it. Got it? Good. So even though Ice Queendom aired in the previous summer season, I waited until the English dub of the anime to come out, because I like the original cast. Anyway, Xion is an anime original character, who despite being a man in a Japanese version, is non-binary in the English dub. They're a hunter who's after a new breed of Nightmare Grimm that have found themselves at Beacon Academy. This Nightmare Grimm latched themselves into people going through a rough time and amplifies their insecurities, trapping them in their own nightmares. The only way to break the person out of the nightmare is to go inside and help to wake them up, which is what Team Juniper did to help John in the third episode, and is what Team RWBY is doing to help Weiss currently. They can do this with Xion's abilities. Speaking of, Xion is such a cool character. First off, their design is so cool. They got this witch aesthetic going on, and their color scheme looks great. But we haven't seen it in an action scene. I love their weapon, being a large dream catcher and having lots of threads to help those enter the nightmare. And their abilities that people can use in the nightmare is cool as well. Using coins to create save point doors, make duplicates of themselves, a telephone to communicate with Xion in the outside world. It's all really great stuff. I'm only 5 episodes in, so I hope that we get to see Xion in an action scene so that we can see their weapon and abilities in action against the Grimm. RWBY Ice Queendom is a pretty cool anime original story so far, expanding on Weiss's character and her relationship to the rest of the team. It also gave us Xion, who in the English dub is a pretty awesome non-binary character. A quick one to talk about is Kita from Bocchi the Rock. Introduced in the third episode, Kita is invited to join the girls' band, which we learned she tried and failed to be a part of before. The reason that Kita originally tried to join is because she fell head over heels over the bassist of the band, Rio. Rio is oblivious to Kita's feelings, but Kita wants to do her best as the singer of the band in order to become Rio's girl. Again, Kita was just introduced in the third episode, so we'll have to wait and see if Kita's feelings for Rio will be reciprocated in some way, or if her crush on her senpai will just be a gag for the anime to fall back on if needed. And lastly, even though I'm not watching it, I suppose I should mention the new Mobile Suit Gundam anime, The Witch from Mercury. From what I've seen, it has a lot of sapphic undertones and is a little similar to Revolution Girl Utena, in one of the girls becoming the bride to another. As to how much it will progress, who knows, because as I haven't seen a single Mobile Suit Gundam anime, I will not be watching it. But if you're a queer fan of Mobile Suit Gundam who's excited for these two queer characters, as well as some gorgeous 2D animation, then congratulations.
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations.
And now let's talk about the past season's queer characters, starting with Mary Rose and Rosemary from Shadow's House Season 2. So, confession time, when I read the original manga, I swear that the relationship between Mary Rose and Rosemary was more explicit. But I went back to check and no, the anime does it the same. But I think there's enough to talk about. So the two twists of Season 2 of Shadow's House is that upon receiving a letter of invitation from Lord Grandfather and graduating from the Children's Ring, the Shadow and their living doll will merge together, with the living doll effectively dying and the Shadow taking both forms. A rope figure has been using the suit creatures and phantoms to create chaos, and the identity of that being of Mary Rose, with Rosemary pretending to be out of commission to help her out. They had both learned about the fusion, and Mary Rose doesn't want to kill Rosemary through their merging. They have done all of this in order to find a way to defy Lord Grandfather's wishes and put an end to the fusion, even if it put other people in danger, like the Bell twins. While it could be said that Mary Rose and Rosemary are close friends like Kate and Emilico, I kinda see their relationship as romantic, adding to the fear of not wanting to be merged together. It's also the way that Mary Rose is dressed straight out of Rosa de Versailles, as I mentioned before, and the way that she always holds Rosemary, especially as Rosemary mentions always giving Mary Rose a goodnight kiss before bed. Anyway, Kate is able to defeat Mary Rose with the help of some of her friends, but before the two of them are turned over to Edward to be disposed of, Mary Rose and Rosemary decide to jump off the bridge to go out on their own terms. Thelma and Louise style. Now before you cry bury your gaze, it should be mentioned that Anthony, the true mastermind behind everything, believes that there are a few ways that the two of them could have survived. And I don't think that the author would have brought that up if they didn't plan to bring them back in some way in the future. Well, not as explicit as I remember, I still see Mary Rose and Rosemary as a romantic couple, not wanting to be separated from each other and wanting to be together forever. It'll have to be seen if they ever return in the anime and manga's future. Okay, let's talk about Vueko from the second season of Made in Abyss. So this is a little weird to talk about, as Vueko is revealed to be gay in the manga, but not in the anime. Let me explain. So for some context, you know that blue-haired woman in the flashbacks that becomes the blue hair hollow with the one eye? Well, before everything goes to shit in the flashbacks, Ueko and her were in a relationship together, not shown in the anime, which is a little disappointing, but to be fair,
To be fair.
the confirmation of this is just shown in one small panel during a montage. I still don't know why they didn't show it in the anime, but whatever. So the ending of the two characters in both manga and anime, Veriko accidentally ascends in a place where the 6th layer curse is activated, almost becoming a full cursed hollow. But the blue hair hollow is able to toss her away and sacrifices herself to the curse to make sure that Veriko doesn't suffer an eternity of pain, much like with Miti. And after Veriko is able to tell Faputa about her mother, she passes on as well. It's disappointing that the anime adaptation didn't include this aspect of Ueko's character and help to make the blue hair hollow sacrifice even stronger, but that's why I'm here to report the facts about it to y'all. Next up, let's talk about the character designs in Yurei Deko. In some of their projects, Science Seru likes to have their characters express their gender identity differently than what is typically in anime. Keep Your Hands Off Izoken had 3 main girls whose character designs were meant to be non-binary, and even the recent Inu-Oh had one of their main male characters dress up in women's clothing and wear makeup as they grew up. This is also shown in Yurei Deko, with main characters Barry and Hack having non-binary type designs, with viewers being confused about Hack's gender for a little bit. This is shown the most with Finn, the leader of the Yurei Detective Agency, a male crossdresser with very long hair, long eyelashes, and wears a women's kimono. And this is something that isn't commented on by any of the characters, it's just the way that Finn is. I really like this approach to character designs that Science Seru likes to use, and I hope to see them continue that trend in the future. Lastly, let's talk about Hatsuka from Call of the Night. Halfway through the season, we meet a group of vampires that Nazuna doesn't like to really hang out with. Hatsuka is a part of that group, but we don't really get to know anything about them until the last episode of the season. After another tense encounter with Anko, Ko runs into Hatsuka, who invites him to their apartment. And during that time, Ko and the audience learn that Hatsuka is actually a guy. When asked by Ko, Hatsuka admits that he likes to cross-dress because it makes him look good. He just finds it enjoyable. Thankfully, Ko doesn't treat Hatsuka differently and now seems to be more comfortable around him knowing that he's a guy. Though even Ko admits that he finds Hatsuka cute and isn't opposed to becoming his offspring when offered, even though he's a guy. I also like that the women in Hatsuka's vampire group also treat him normally. Hatsuka appears to be bisexual or pansexual as well, saying that he goes after both men and women, seeming to have 1 man and 2 women as servants that seem to love him to an obsessive degree. It was nice to have a queer character in Call of the Night, even if it was just in the last episode of the season. I enjoy Hatsuka and Ko's conversation about love and gender, and I thought that the anime dealt with his cross-dressing in a respectful way. Hopefully there'll be another season so that we can see more of Hatsuka's life that was only hinted at in this last episode. Alright, so that's the end of the video. So what should my final Phineas and Ferb clip be? Let me consult with my inner mind.
Yes, but the universe is constantly expanding. Then what is it expanding into? Okay, now my mind is blown.